What is actually moving the stock price higher? Pump from investors? Technically, no. Technically, it is the market maker buying blocks of stock to potentially satisfy those investors that bought out of the money calls. Why did they buy out of the money calls? Because if they get enough of them on the books, they know the market maker will have to respond. Do you understand now the relationship? This is what moves the markets. I know you all think it's tweets and tariffs and all these other things and analysts and earnings and stuff. Yes, 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 yes. But the true movement of the market are the levels that are created by investors buying calls at certain levels. I'm going to show it to you on the SPY in a couple of minutes. But when getting back to what happened here with NVIDIA, once we saw the pump, this was on Wednesday. I talked about it on Tuesday. Proved out on Wednesday they were pumping it. They pumped it again on Thursday. Now remember, you got Friday expiration. Whoop, right there, right? Hasn't happened yet. You got Friday expiration coming up. And Nvidia has been pumping. The S&P 500 is pumping. Let's look at that one. I'll look at that one in a second, right? All-time highs, economy's great, except for a few things that I talked to you all about. The put call ratio was getting lower and lower and lower, meaning a tremendous amount of calls out there overall versus put. And when the market leans in on one side versus the other, usually it swings the other way to punish those that are leaning in on one side. Yeah, China Schmina, there was some China talk. That's not what did it. I know a lot of people have been told and think that the one tweet from Trump about, or what maybe it was a comment at a news conference, I don't know which, where he said, well, we're going to have to put more pressure on China with tariffs or something, right? Oh, and the market dropped. Bull. That is not what happened. What happened is what I told you what happened. And that is on Thursday, right here on Thursday, investors were loaded up on calls. They were out of the money. Now they're sort of at the money. They're profitable. And due to some geopolitical stuff that was going on that would make investors nervous, due to the fact that the dollar was raging and surging higher, not good for equities. Yields high, not good for equities. Government shutdown means we can't get data when we normally get data. Dollar rising, put call ratio out of control. Everybody and their sister has calls. But so that's dangerous, dangerous. Look at the VIX in compression, coiling up, getting ready for a move to release to the upside. Remember the little spikes above 17, 18, little spikes above 17. And what I told you at the time is the VIX doesn't spike like this unless it's ready for a bigger move. Now, why would the VIX spike like this? Because investors get nervous and they start buying out of the money calls on the VIX just in case to protect their portfolio. So I want you to just imagine a scenario where you're running a $50 billion hedge fund. You got tons of Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, etc., gold, nice mix of stocks, whatever it is, right? And now all of a sudden the government shuts down, doesn't look like it's going to open for a while. The Fed just announced after a rate cut that was long overdue, thought by some, they're going to now cut potentially two more times before the end of the year. Markets love that. But the Fed also said that they make their determination of whether they're going to cut rates or not based on data. Data driven is the commentary we heard from the Fed chair over and over. So now you ain't got no data. There's no data coming in because there's a shutdown. So I want you to imagine you're a $50 billion hedge fund manager. You're loaded to the gills with Apple and Nvidia. The dollar is rising out of control. We don't know what's going to happen with rate cuts. You know the market has leaned all the way over to calls. So, do you really want to hold your position through Friday into this weekend where the bond market's closed on Monday? We don't know what's going to happen. There's so much uncertainty. What do you think the plan was all last week while they were pumping the stocks and pumping the market and buying all of those out of the money calls? Do you really think they were going to roll those calls into the next week, or hold calls into another week or two, or hold all of that stock? Exactly, Zlatko. They're going to take their profits because of the uncertainty of the data that's not coming out. We don't know what the Fed's going to do. The uncertainty because the dollar is rising out of control. Metals are going through the roof and are going to get ready for a pullback. Oil is going to get ready to dump. They're going to dump this. So what did we do? We read the charts. We went through all of this and we loaded up. We bought puts on KRE just in case yields skyrocketed. We bought puts on GDX and SLV because the dollar was rising and we would get maybe a short-term move in gold and silver to the downside. We did a SPY vertical to the downside and others, right? And some of them worked and some of them didn't. But the big lean in was on Thursday when I said, ladies and gentlemen, we are buying more. And I bought more, and we added to our position, our short position on SPY. Going into Friday, I was wicked shot, as they say here in New England, right? I was wicked shot. I was shot a lot of positions. And so the move that happened on Friday, the dump, maybe Trump's talk about China might have been a catalyst to light the match. But they had already stacked the firewood 50 feet high and doused it with lighter fluid. So if it wasn't the China talk, it would have been something else. But they weren't going to hold on to all of that through the weekend. And so what do? Dump. And what did we do? Cha-ching! Cha-ching! You guys saw the alerts. Now, I know there's been some complaints from new people. All I've seen in the last 2 weeks is you closing positions. Where are all the new ones? The new ones will come, not because you want them. The new trades will come when there's more market certainty and there is a setup. There ain't no setup right now when the market is doing this, and this. Once it breaks a level and holds, and I get other confirmations, yeah, we trade, we don't gamble. So yes, the last couple of weeks we've been closing positions. But if you want to see what those positions are, you can go to the search window above in your desktop or on your phone, the search window at the top, and just type the symbol for the trade that we closed, and you'll be able to see the action. An accelerant. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comments section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.